Welcome back to another episode of Bahamian Banter. I'm so happy I get to talk to my long-term friend Sherwood, who's also in the creative space of music and artistry. How you doing, bud?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Likewise.
How long we've been trying? So at least how long we've known each other?
I remember.
Oh boy.
I remember when you used to come to school.
Oh my gosh.
You ask.
Okay. Tell me.
I remember when you used to come to school in the back of your daddy's scooter.
Let me tell you something. I was never in traffic. Y'all had to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get to school. I woke up 7:45 every day.
On the Carl's Pizza scooter.
It was a moped. Anyway, yes, that's how long we know each other.
Yes.
But from then, that's when he was like, she has to be my friend. She don't have no shame. Actually, I bullied Sherwood into being my friend in school. He was very much an introvert, which is so cool to see the space that you in creatively. It requires an engagement with people consistently. How have you seen your personality change because of your career and passion?
I don't know if I'd say my personality has changed very much, I would say I just adaptable. I could do both. Mm-hmm. I don't like to be very uppity in your face and front and center too much.
Right.
Only when it's like functional.
Right.
So for my music, I know I have to be front and center.
Yes, as you want to present your craft for yourself.
So I do it. But if someone be like, Sherwood, he did this, that, and that, I'd be like, you don't have to say that.
What do you do exactly?
Well, a lot of things, I guess.
Okay, tell us.
I guess mostly I'm a creative. I functionally do a lot of creative things, from music production, audio engineering, and I do a little bit of like guitar playing too, like live gigging.
He does really cool live stuff on Instagram, and he'll teach you a thing or two about this string and that string and this tone. Yeah. You don't have to downplay who you are.
Yeah. So like I'm really deep into creative production, not limited to music, because sometimes like I'm into setting up things visually to help like do content capture and whatnot. But where there is anything music or visual to be made, and I think it's cool, I try to get involved.
So do you have a favorite avenue of creativity that is be like, wait, every time I do a project like this, it's make me feel so alive?
Yeah. When I make albums for me and like the small set of musicians around me, like artists that I really like Judah.
Shout out to Judah, the Lion King. I love him so much. I'm such a fan. I've known Judah since I was a little bitty too.
Oh wow, not bitty. But yeah, like doing stuff for us is the joy of creative work for me. Like being in the studio where we crafting songs from scratch, making the instrumentals, doing the writing, and then seeing the pieces come together.
How do you fine tune to where you're like, this is it? What level of perfection do you work with? Is it based on your friends telling you, yeah, babe, that sound good? What intuition have you been able to develop creatively?
For the most part, it's about figuring out what is going on in my head and bringing that out. And sometimes that's a work in progress. So I might have an idea in my head initially.
Right.
Like, I could hear the song going bop, 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 bop. But by the time I put that down, it's like, now there's another piece that my head is telling me needs to come.
Right.
So as long as my head is saying, try this, try that, it's not done.
It sounds then that it can kind of spiral. So when do you know when to cut? That your brain just spiraling out all these creative ideas and thoughts?
Yeah, I think I call it quits when it feels balanced.
Yeah.
And balance, it's like from song to song can look different. Sometimes you have just a vocal and a guitar, and it feels complete.
Right.
On the other hand, you might have a production with all kind of strings and horns and drums and this and that. It's like, that's also complete. So I think it's a feeling thing, and a flexible vision thing.
I always envy that creative aspect of just different creators I've like been able to meet and talk with, but specifically you, it seems like it's also very relaxing. It seems very like soothing, like therapy sort of, but in a more personal way, because sometimes you don't even realize how the music or the vibe speaks to you.
Right.
Would you say that this has definitely helped with mental health or just emotional soundness and completeness?
Absolutely. Like, honestly, I got into music shortly after high school because I just needed an outlet for what was going on in my head and in my feelings. And like you can attest to me just being a writer in some capacity from high school. So it was like after high school, feeling kind of boxed in your house where you figuring out adult navigation. But yeah, like a lot of is just going on in my head, and then writing helps me to sort my thoughts. But then beyond sorting the thought, writing, vocalizing it helps me to express that feeling. So it really does give me like a balance when I feel charged.
So then this would be advice you would give to persons that are looking for a safe outlet if they enjoy music or they feel like music or any kind of, I guess, creative space within music is safe for them. You would be like, I would advise you to take this course. Or does it have to be fueled by passion as well?
It don't gotta be fueled by passion, you know. The same way talking to your friends is often a good outlet when you have a lot going on in your head. Writing is for anybody. Just write. And expressing vocally is for anybody. You ain't gotta sound good.
That's so true. What a sec.
You ain't gotta sound good. Like,
so with all of this, how you make money with like this sound, all of this creativity you have has to have a value to it.
Yeah.
How do you rate that value?
I make money from operating the studio. So I am relatively good at making songs.
He's really good at it.
And so, you know, people will pay you to do anything that you can do better than them.
Do you work with clients where you'd be like, wait, this song is garbage.
I will never say that. I will never say that. I think that. But it's not constructive to say.
No, it isn't. Especially if that's their like peak. Yeah. You can imagine you telling somebody like they'd be like, but this is my best, and you'd be like, boy, this is your best, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't have value in the studio.
Also, isn't good for business.
I don't know.
The whole point is for you to come. How did you develop the studio space? Like, what breathed that idea into your life? Like, hey, I should make a home studio.
Well, I was making music home in my bedroom, and I hate like typical 9-to-5 operations. For me.
Yes.
It always feels like I could be doing something else. It's always felt like that. So when I was doing a lot of my own stuff in my room, it was like, I think I know enough. Maybe I could ask somebody to do it for them. Maybe they'll pay me for it. And then eventually it's just like, you can't just bring a bunch of people in your room. Like, I mean, if you make the room nice enough.
Right.
But at the time, my room wasn't nice enough. So I just kind of moved from my room. I pivoted from my room to my front room. And it's like, okay, this is at least decent enough for people to come in and record. I got a mic, I got speakers, I got headphones. I got more than most people.
I remember coming by your house one time and you were like actually building it. You had like soundproof foam?
Yeah.
And you were like, and I literally remember saying to you like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm making a studio. And I just was like, okay.
Yeah. Little handy when I need to be.
Yeah, so. you little low-key carpenter-ish, but you know what? You were like that in school too with art, and you were just good with your hands, which I'm thinking with your mind and your heart and your hands being so effective, of course you would be able to make music. Of course you'd be able to be lyrically in tune. And I don't mean that because I know you for a long time. That's just honestly how I feel. Like it kind of works hand in hand.
Yeah.
So you make money by using the studio space. Do you make money by writing people's music as well?
Not presently. Like I don't put out that, hey, I could be writing for you. I don't know how many people would want that, but you don't know unless you put it out.
Yeah.
But more so as of this year, I've been really thinking about how to market the idea of songwriting for other people, so that they could say, hey, yeah, I don't know how to write what I want to say, but maybe you could write it for me. Maybe I could say it to you, and then you could put it into a song.
Well, here you go, folks. He will be your ghostwriter.
Yeah, I mean, people have writers all the time. Beyonce don't write all her own stuff. Rihanna don't write all her own stuff.
I love that he used Beyonce, knowing that I love her. Oh my gosh, so in sync. No, but yeah, I agree. I feel like sometimes people just don't know how to put their words. And honestly, music is kind of a way too, where when people hear a certain sound, then things come to them. So to be someone that already creates music music, creates beats. I could say create beats.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
And be able to write. I feel like it would be much easier to market than you probably think.
Probably.
So with all of this music career, have you ever had to pivot and actually have a 9-to-5 job or a corporate job or?
I not since I started like doing studio properly, like
professionally.
Professionally, regularly. Before, definitely. After some time in COB, at least.
You finished COB, right?
Yeah, technically.
You did biology, biochem?
I did biochem, but then I kind of downscaled to chemistry, just an associate's in chem. But yeah, like during COB, I was working part-time stuff here and there, and I don't think I ever got a full-time job, actually.
In your entire life?
Not a full 40-hour-a-week job.
Wow.
No. But I was doing, actually, that may be a lie, too, because I used to work with Daddy doing construction.
Yeah, you did. I just thought you probably just selectively forgot that.
No, I mean, that could be like trauma.
Working for your parents is difficult. It really is a different experience.
So I mean, that does count. I would do months of that before I got into a lot of the other part-time stuff before studio.
And with all of this time it seems like you knew music was going to be what you did. You did all the other things. Was that just as fluff during this time period, or you still were navigating self-discovery?
A bit of both. It's like half and half. I was figuring out what I really was into. Initially, I thought, hey, I like science.
You were great at it, too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I could do, like, forensics or something.
You could have.
Probably.
I mean, you could do that now with music that you write in the background playing. But anyway, go ahead.
But I was like, to do forensics here, that means I got to join the police force. And that's nasty.
Yeah. Sorry, for all the police viewers, we appreciate you. Okay? I am very neutral.
Right.
Nasty.
So after that, I was like, I'm doing a science degree, but I don't know what I want to do with that.
Right.
But as I found myself making music so often, I started to consider what are the possibilities for making money from this skill set. Because you're doing it enough, you're learning. There has to be a way that I can make money from it, because people make money from it.
And you're very kind. I feel like there's a certain genre of people that do music, but they're just not pleasant to work with. And so being able to work with someone like you, I'm sure it's just more relaxing to know that you're working with somebody that just ain't only about the money. And that's because of your course of self-discovery. You knew that you wanted to do something that was beneficial for both parties,
for sure,
while achieving that sense of like being fulfilled in your purpose.
For sure.
You do a lot of conferences, not conferences, but like I've seen where you go to music festivals. Is that networking or that's just leisure?
It's both. Like, I like to go to the conference-oriented things where they showing you the new this in Spotify or the new that in Apple Music. And sometimes, each time I meet somebody that's like, I supposed to meet you. That's why, I guess that's why I come here. Because now you just know people in different spaces, and you do get to work with people kind of remotely, sending instrumentals back and forth, maybe doing some mixing, or just knowing somebody in a city when you want to maybe do a show there.
Yes.
Like all that counts as.
Have you done anything internationally?
No, not yet.
Or is that a goal or?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I hope that I can maybe do some next year.
Is that narrowed to a particular group of people, or is it just like free fall? I just want to do something internationally.
No, I've been to Atlanta enough to know that I like the Atlanta space. I know a couple of people there.
Not neutral about that.
Just musically, like.
Musically, I understand.
Yeah. I like a couple of the people that I've met in the music space there, so it feels like, I could probably do something.
It is a big production state for sure.
There, and Austin, at least come time for their regular South by Southwest.
Austin, Texas.
Right.
Oh yeah, keep things weird. I love that state.
Right. So I feel like maybe those two spaces at first might be someplace that is feasible for me.
Would you ever consider teaching people how to play instruments? Because how many instruments do you play now anyway?
I would only say I play one instrument.
Okay. It sounds like you play with like 10 a day, and you'd be like, but I really only confidently good at one. Is that what it is?
So when I playing around on keys, I don't really play it like a keyboard player. I just know how to navigate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I
I
can't.
didn't know that. I thought you actually was like
I mean, I'm
a
playing it,
keyboardist.
but the way that I play guitar in rhythm, in time, and I
Okay.
could like shift tempo and
Yeah.
do different things, I can't do that with keys. I'm not
How
that
long did that
fluent.
take you to learn how to play the guitar?
A couple months to get basic, then maybe a year and some to get.
So would you teach people? Like, would you offer a class where persons can learn to play the guitar? Or that's too people-y for you?
I would teach production before I teach guitar.
Got you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Why?
Because I'm way better at production.
And you feel like you have that so well organized too?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What makes it difficult being a artist in the Bahamas?
So much.
What
Like,
stands out right now where you'd be like, oh my god?
we don't absolutely have de facto places where people come to hear original music here.
I saw that on a Facebook status you did a few weeks ago. I remember thinking like, that's so right. We don't really have like Bahamian music playing in the Bahamas.
Right. Now, to clear that up, you do have some spaces like the farm and your other low-key rake and scrape spots here and there.
Yeah.
And those technically would be like renditions of original music, but oftentimes there's a heavy mixture of popular covers too, just done in rake and scrape style.
Yeah.
And that only services one genre of music, rake and scrape.
Also one group of people, which is probably tourism.
And Bahamians are more than just rake and scrape music, as any people are more than just like Jamaicans ain't just reggae music.
Yeah. No,
It's their most popular genre
Right.
that people understand them for, but we are more than just rake and scrape music. So having dedicated spaces where you know that you could go to that spot and hear people not just playing any music, but music made by Bahamians, composed, written, produced, all that stuff, as opposed to, you could go to this place and hear this band sing other people's songs.
But if it's a challenge and you create the music and you team up with people, other Bahamians that create different sounds, can't you just push those sounds into these spaces that lack diversity in regards to Bahamian?
The short answer is no.
Oh, why?
And it's mostly because the spaces that have a sense of spotlighting music perpetuate the idea that you have to appeal to mostly tourists, which means play them songs that they know.
Got you.
So no, they don't want you to play unfamiliar things, because if you play
No Sudgen.
right, that ain't gonna get them as up and dancing as Get Lucky, because they know Get Lucky.
Yeah.
And they want tourists to spend money and to stay and be active. It's not about discovery in these spaces, it's just about commerce.
Right. And No Sudgen, by the way, is one of his songs. I don't know if that was the music video I was in, but I remember being in one.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to go search for that. I'm not clipping that in out because I don't know. Oh my gosh, I don't remember what it is, but I could see us right now in my sister's apartment and him shooting it. But lyrically, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that was such a big challenge. I thought that, I mean, music is music. Why can't it be in a certain space? Even I've been in the States, many songs I don't know, and I enjoyed it and had a good time.
Exactly. So this idea that we have spaces that are big on live music, but it's not our music. It's performed by us, but not our music.
Understood.
It doesn't do us a service in saying we're championing Bahamian artistry.
Understood. So that's one of the struggles within being in the music industry as a Bahamian. What is the second?
I think the second thing is maybe tied to that thing, but maybe in an isolated sense. We have a hard time being curious and outstanding as listeners. We don't want anything new unless somebody tells us it's good.
Ooh, that part. No, I agree. Change is very difficult for our culture.
Generally speaking, unless somebody and somebody that we already in our mind is, I guess, a thought leader, like Beyonce or Rihanna. If they say it's good, we'll be like, I'll check them out.
Be good.
But and I guess that's kind of natural.
It's globally. When you put it that way on that span, that's everything. But I even feel like in the Bahamas, there's so many great ideas and so many things I see, and I enjoy it. And I'll be like, oh my goodness, I independently got to put, I got to put this on. I feel like it's my mission to put my friends on this.
Right.
And some of them would just be like, okay, who else tell you? Like, they need me to get validation.
Right.
Or to verify if this really is is, I don't know, what do I say, lit, great, whatever.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it like I invite you out to go watch some live music, and you say, "Who's performing?" And I tell you artist name, and be like, "I don't know them."
You don't need to.
You don't need to.
No.
Do you want to hear music or not? Do you want to
Yeah.
discover music? No,
Yeah.
we don't want to discover something
No.
new.
Oh
We
my
want
gosh,
to
you're so right.
we want to know ahead of time it's going to be something familiar to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we ain't really pioneering and like looking for new things, much less Bahamian new things.
I mean, it's also because Bahamians generally are very complacent. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Complacency could be beautiful to a person that has no desire to discover more. It really could be. But because, no, it really could be. Artistically speaking, if I'm good and I don't want to grow and I'm happy, how you can tell me I need to grow and I'm happy? So the vast majority of people are like that. And I appreciate people like that. They're either secure in what they want or they're so secure in what they don't want that they don't want to change. So that is just a big, I've always fought that. When I say fought that, I've seen that my entire life. And you know me, I'm like a traveling Rolling Stone, gypsy, Bahamian gal. It's why I travel so much, because I recognized, although we have such rich soil here, it's only so much I could grow in it.
Absolutely.
And when I would travel the world and see and meet different people, and I come back home to minds like yours, I'm like, yeah, you should be a bit bigger than what you are. Hey, and it ain't because you haven't tried.
Yeah.
It's because the soil doesn't allow you to grow that much.
Yeah, and I honestly think it's partially just the design of the Bahamas as a almost like systemic infrastructure.
Yes, yeah.
This wasn't made to be cutting edge.
Yeah.
Like as a country, this
Yeah.
is about people coming to relax,
Yes.
appeasing to the people that coming to spend money.
Yeah.
This is not about propelling, generally speaking, like
Yeah.
you to be the best you, or it's like, yeah, do the thing to help people come and enjoy this space.
So how do you stay optimistic then, knowing that your blows kind of don't count? And I don't want to make it seem like you shouldn't try, but how do you stay optimistic?
Well, I make music because I like to make music, and I think a part of being able to grow in any aspect is understanding the nature of a space or people. Like, don't expect different than what the nature of the thing is.
Expectations are so important.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, if you try to get coconut water from a cucumber, that would be weird.
It would be.
Because cucumbers don't do the same thing coconut
You clearly self-disappointing.
Exactly.
You put yourself in that. You set yourself up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is knowing how the space operates, and not to say that there are no pluses, because yes, there are people here that will be interested in discovering new music. There are people like me that may be a bit more against the grain and interested in exploring different things. Mm-hmm. Those people you connect with.
Yes.
But you don't feel very much away when majority of the people don't fall in line with that, because you know what it is.
Absolutely.
So you take the people that are into that, and you cater to that in the best way possible, and then you use that to propel you, I guess, in a different direction.
It's so much balance that you have in your life to be okay with not being for everyone and achieving greatness for the ones that you are for, while remembering that I'm doing it for me.
Absolutely.
That's so much balance. How did you get to that space?
Oh no.
Gradually, just it happened. It was something you intentionally did, or would you say music did that for you?
I would say it's a bit beyond music. I've just always been the kind of person to try to consider what's going on, and I guess pull the positive from it, or pull the beneficial from it, like what serves me. And what does serve me is to understand things for what they are, not be delusional about it. And then again, like.
So you're not a dreamer.
Is dreaming delusional?
It depends on the dream. That's why I'm curious to know how do you determine a dream and passion? Because sometimes I feel like one can't exist without the other.
It's an interesting question. I feel like I'm passionate about things that don't feel like dreams to me because they feel very concrete.
Ooh, that gave me goosebumps. No, it did, because it makes sense. I just think about it this way. Like when I posed that question to you, I thought you would just be stupid and be like, but that's so true. When you're passionate about something, it just don't seem like a dream. Dreams usually are something that I wouldn't say are unobtainable, but people always make it seem like when you finally get it, you're like, oh my gosh, it's been my dream, and you didn't even know this could come to realization.
Right.
But,
I feel like those things, the things that I'm considering, are very much maybe not here right now, but with the right steps, they could be attainable. And so it doesn't feel like this illusory, dream-oriented thing.
You sound like you have a lot of support. What kind of support do you have to reach these dreams, to reach this, to have this kind of passion?
I think I have a strong but small support system. You know what I mean? It's people like you, like when we talk to each other.
Oh my God. We talk every 20 years.
But when we do talk,
when we do,
that's
always,
what's important.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? The frequency is about like the potency.
Yeah.
No,
it's true.
Yeah, I try to, or maybe more so, I think I attract the kind of people that have a certain sense of understanding of self to know when the thing is obtainable. I don't run into a lot of, you're trying to do all this and you're trying to do all that. Like, I don't know if I don't run into a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, chaos. People say, it's creative chaos sometimes. And I think that at some point in life, it could be pretty creative, but as I've gotten older, I've realized I don't want chaos. I kind of want to weed out that chaos so it shines the light on what my purpose is. And that changes based on, where we are in life, what we go through. And it seems like you've been able to have a group of people that have, I don't even think they were like, I'm going to navigate it with you. I think it was just generally genuine energy that wanted to see you happy and see you thrive.
Absolutely.
Within the music industry, there are a lot of people you meet, man and woman, but because woman is the attracting magnet. When I say magnet, you like woman. How I mean, you do. How have you found ways to find women who want to be a friend, women that may want something else? How have you been able to balance that and create boundaries within that?
That's why you choose that question?
I choose that question
Very
because
good.
No, okay, I can tell you why though, because I could be nosy because I'm your friend, but I'm also using this as an experience for the audience to listen to. I feel like people who are in certain career paths, there are women who generally like you. They attracted to you.
Yeah.
And then there are ones that just want to support you. Yeah. And that could be for any sex. It could be for men too. But how do you create boundaries knowing like, hey, you cool, but no. I appreciate the professional relationship that we could thrive in.
Yeah, my boundaries are linked to how things are aligned. And so there are people that are clearly, I'm a very particular person.
You are like Perrier water for sure.
A lot of the traditional things that people are very interested in, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And that is easy for me to like set boundaries for, because I don't want to project myself to be something that I am not, and proclaim to be able to deliver something that I will not. So it's easy for me to say, oh, this is a nice person. They might be like interested in me, but I know who I am and I know what they want. And people always want to like come into your life. Generally speaking, we want to come into people's lives to ask people to give us something. Like, hey, could you be this version of the thing for me? Because that's what I always wanted. And sometimes people try to do that. I'd be like, yeah, I can do that. I can try it. And I just be like, I didn't do that. And so it's like, it's easy for me to make friends. Because creatively, people like to be friends with creatives.
Yeah. And like I said, mentioned earlier, you are a very kind person.
Thank you. And then it's easy for like friendship to look like a degree of infatuation, because newness is infatuating.
Yeah.
Eventually, it all averages out, and you figure out, hey, are we here for a friendship? Are we here for maybe something that may be more intimate? Are we here for business? Like all those things just happen because you allowed the thing to play out.
So you sound like a really good communicator. Would you say you communicate pretty effectively?
I try my best. I've been told that I could be blunt.
I have not experienced that part of you. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I find that your communication has always been very concise and clear. I've never misunderstood what you say and do. And I think that's why I really value our friendship. I've never had to be like, I wonder where me and Jared is right now. I ain't talking like in 5 years. I could kind of like pick right back up wherever it is where we left off. And, you know, maybe there is a bluntness to that. I don't know. But that's so cool. Well, I had a really good time talking with you today. I know you have a prior arrangement, and you still came. I love that. We're at Montague Beach today. It is super windy, and people in the water. Because that's what Bahamian people is doing holiday weekend. They'd be in the water, despite the palm trees blowing that way. But anyway, I really appreciate you giving me some of your time, your knowledge, your perspective, and I think it's so important to be positive in whatever career path we're in, but definitely in ones where we have to trailblaze it ourselves. So thank you so much for being a good friend, a great person, and just a beautiful, musically engaged Bahamian.
It's my pleasure.
No problem. We're going into a segment called Bear Break. See you guys up next. Hello. Back we are from Bear Break. I was supposed to bring some bear. I was supposed to bring you to collect Guinness, something. But you have a prior arrangement, like I said, and I didn't want you to get too lit before you go and enjoy. I believe you're going. Can I say where you're going? I mean, this would be active. Yeah. He's going to support Dasquay comedy show, which I know is going to be killer amazing. I hope everyone supported him because we would have definitely buy tickets to see Kevin Hart. But anyway, we were talking much about the creative space that's in the Bahamas and you navigating that. Are you an only child? I want persons to know.
Definitely not.
Are you the first, the last? What are you?
The first. I'm
Okay.
the first.
So would you say a lot of your family structure too aided in you being creative, or is that something that's just unique to Sherwood?
I think it's unique to me. I don't think my creativity is linked to family structure or upbringing or nothing like that.
That's so funny because your dad is in construction, and that's there's creativity in building something.
I mean, yeah, but I think I guess the intentional passing on of the creative perspective in construction wasn't there. It may be passive. It may be like, oh, I was around it, so I could see painting as, I guess, some degree of creative.
Did you grow up in a two-parent home?
No, my mommy and my daddy been split for like long.
So, do you feel like when you have a chance to create your own family, what would be important to you in that family structure? Marrying what you had or didn't have in your family structure growing up.
I think what would be important to me is intentional time. Like, I have conversations often enough actually with some of my friends just about reflecting on childhood. And I think one of the biggest things that I know I didn't get too much of, not very much of, at least from like the father side, was an active enthusiasm about being there, like time-wise. It always felt like time was fleeting and you ain't really
in a hurry.
Yeah. And I wouldn't want to like give that to a child just because I didn't get it, but because it makes sense.
Because I bring you in and I love you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it ain't like, oh, I want to give my child because I didn't get, like, no.
Sherwood is a clown, but
That just makes sense. Like you make time for the people that you're supposed to care for, and care is more than just financial, especially for dependents like children and stuff.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is you could drop a bag on a kid, because I'm sure my parents did my entire life, but I can tell you, I can remember my daddy. Oh, you know my daddy being so present in my life, it's insane. And I remember that, the smiles from him at swim meets, or just his support, money can't buy it.
Yeah.
And that's what you glean as you get older. That actually is like my reservoir whenever I'm going through difficult times, to know like the people that I really could rely on is the people that made me.
Yeah.
And I know that because they've been tried and tested. So that's beautiful that in you wanting. Do you want a family for one kid?
I don't think about having kids.
Okay.
Uh,
If you did have one, you'd be like, all right, buddy.
if I did have one, I would be like a great father.
I know that's right.
I mean, like,
You would be.
because
Yeah.
I think raising a child is just about the right environment.
Yeah.
A lot of people try to fake the environment because you don't have good habits. Your atmosphere isn't all too proper, but you want your child to be proper. That don't make sense.
No, don't.
So if you already have a sense of, I guess, good habits, patterns, and structure, the child will just follow suit.
But I mean, that's pretty difficult for a lot of people because they don't have people around them telling them, like, that's actually not a really good habit.
Yeah.
A lot of persons just let people exist. And I'm all about allowing a person to get through certain hurdles. But it's your job as a friend, a partner, anything that has a foundation of love and trust to tell that person, like, hey, that's not a good habit. That's not a great idea.
Yeah.
So as easy as that makes sense, it's very hard for people to implement.
Yeah, no, it's 100% hard to be a balanced and not self-deprecating human being.
And I think it has a lot to do with, like you said, you know, how the Bahamas has always been more about tourism. I don't think the family structure has been the same. It wasn't. My dad grew up, you know, he was adopted. He had a very, very interesting childhood. But so from decades in the past, all the way in the past, a lot of people never had that proper family structure of environment.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have mommy and daddy, or you just have one parent, environment really is everything. Because those people who go off to college, they lean on what they would have been seeing in their environment, and it helps in certain choices that you make.
Yes.
Then when they come out of college and they go into the professional field that they chose, that helps you in navigating even who you are at work. And that's why people, no offense, but some people really suck to be around because they just never had something to lean on. Like their default is their bad habits.
Absolutely.
So would you say then that you have decided, although you may not want a child right now, you've decided that if you were to have one day, it would be with someone that comes from a safe environment, or that person that knows how to navigate what it is that I guess you require the child to have?
Yeah, the environment isn't something that I would scrutinize somebody on because at this age,
Which is how?
30. At this age, I think it's important for us to have been able to consider what we came from and then choose from there.
Ooh, yes.
If this is the best way to keep going or if we need to reset.
What if all my life people mistreated me and my mommy and daddy was mean to me? And what if all my life nobody ever loved me? And what do I do?
Go to therapy.
Yeah,
go to therapy, meditate, pray, whatever works.
Yeah. You step away from society for a bit, so that you could prepare yourself to be better for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you do go in. I feel like those kinds of people are weapons. They really are, because they look like me, they sound like me, but they don't emotionally have the capacity to say, "Whoa, this is not a good idea. I don't need to be this kind of person." And it's because they've been it for so long. They've been wrong for so long.
And raising a kid to me is more than just mommy, daddy, kid. It's also the community of people that you have around you.
Yeah.
I know a lot of us live in isolation now because I think that's what's been marketed to us. Like this is the ultimate goal. You get your wife, you have your kids, you move away from your family, you like wean yourself off of communication with them, and you forsake your friends, and you just me, my wife, my kids against the world type vibe.
Wow.
But I think that's just individualism fueled by a degree of capitalism.
Yeah.
I think community is proper family.
Yeah.
Because it ain't just me, you, and the kid. It's also when you go to run errands with your friend, like would they show a degree of care and concern for that child?
And speaking of family, is it important for you to have some type of spiritual structure? I know you have it for yourself, but what is your are you a religious or spiritual person?
Uh, I'm definitely not a religious person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not very dogmatic about a particular path.
Religion. Mm-hmm.
But I think religion can be spiritual. Just to say, it's
Yeah,
not like
I mean
either
that makes
or,
sense.
right? So, but I definitely, I guess people would say I might be more spiritual.
So when it comes to the family that you have, whether they're kids or not, what would be, because you know families are usually centered, especially in the Bahamas, or we a Christian nation, so they have some type of Christianity in their home, whether that's just Sunday mass, whatever. What would that be like in your family home?
Um, Christianity has some great values.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of religions have great values.
Yeah.
I think the through line in all those religions, they have comparable values, like they exist in each of those,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the principles that all people should be taught.
So you grab the principles that matter, that are applicable to life and you, and that's what would be centered in your family.
Yeah, like the principle of loving your neighbor and forgiveness ain't a Christian principle. That don't exist only in Christianity.
That's true.
So while it might come from Christianity,
Yeah.
which that's where you learn it from, which is great, that's the principle that you're instilling into a child.
Do you feel like because we were, well, I don't know if this question would make sense to you, but I'm gonna pose it anyway.
Okay.
Because we're all made in God's image,
Okay.
there is a certain like blueprint in all of us that have a desire to be loving, to be kind, but because of our environment, we push that away. Or do you feel like that's something that you have to be going to church for? Like you have to be a part of a group of people to know, like, you know, this is wrong, this is right. Are there natural things in us that you feel like everyone has, that's the blueprint from the creator?
It's a tough one.